And welcome viewers, friends and foes to the smAsh News Network. Least busted, name and news. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. It's the daily space weather. We'll show you spectacular imagery of the sun. We'll look into the appropriate forecasting variables. We'll show you the magnetic fields, as we're doing now. Only two named sunspot groups currently on the Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. Here it is in ionized iron and ionized helium from the SDO. One of my favorite composite views here. It's a very hot and sunny looking view. We've got some pretty hot temperatures coming to Pennsylvania. We'll talk about that in our meteorology segment, which premiered before this daily space weather video. The 10.7 centimeter radial flux only at 79, very low levels of solar activity. And there you have the last year. The black line here is the 10.7 centimeter radial flux, and you can see a bit of a larger trend happening here in the radial flux and the sunspot number, which is this red line below it. If you'd like to show anybody that graph, it's at solon.info. Here's the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard. No space weather storms or geomagnetic unrest currently in the forecast. We are still seeing the subsiding of a coronal hole wind stream and an earthquake drought. We'll get to that. Here is the 90-day bar graph of seismicity on the planet. Keep in mind, folks, any earthquake can be a foreshock. And check it out, there's a 7 magnitude earthquake drought going on here. So we did have a New Madrid quake here, a 4.0 in Missouri. There was the location of that one. That occurred at 2:53 Universal Time early this morning. There was also an Argentinian quake here, quite far into the South American continent. We also see a volcanic uptick. We'll cover that in a moment. This one was a 5.5, located well east of the Andes. And let's head to the USGS site, scroll up the list, citing any other oddities. Decent-sized quake occurred in the Aleutian Islands as well over the past 24 hours. San Ramon, California, seeing a 3.9. A series of quakes around that location here. Here's a deep quake. Oh yeah, this Argentinian quake, I almost forgot to tell you, was at 569 kilometers depth. If that happened at the surface, that would be about a 7 magnitude earthquake there, folks. So keep in mind, folks, any earthquake can be a foreshock, especially when we have 7 magnitude earthquake droughts like we're currently seeing here. Some shaking happened in Hawaii also. The South Sandwich Islands region has calmed down. Vanuatu saw a 4.9 at over 100 kilometers estimated depth. That Aleutian quake was a 5.2. And there's another deep quake near Argentina, northwest of the 5.5. That's a 4.5 at over 200 kilometers estimated depth. Volcanic uptick also in effect here. We've got some volcanoes on the list that we've never covered before on the channel at all over a few years, actually, of daily space weather videos. So La Palma is still erupting. And no indication on the size of the ash plume there. Don't fly your plane over La Palma. It's been recently producing about an 8,000-foot plume of volcanic ash. No indication today of the size. Shivaluch on the Kamchatka Peninsula is exploding, producing an 11,000-foot ash plume. Flight level 110. Sakurajima, flight level 080. It's an 8,000-foot ash plume over the Isle of Kyushu, Japan. Mount Tall, located on the Philippine island of Luzon, has been exploding as well. 2 small explosions, and we've got some coverage of phreatomagmatic activity here. Let's see what they've covered on Twitter. It looks like some thermal imagery there. And here are the 2 short-lived phreatomagmatic bursts from the main crater. Let's try that again. Okay, I'll take their word for it. Fernandina, located in the Galapagos Islands now. Remaining on the list here, fumarolic activity detected around the crater. Degassing and volcanic tremor are part of a normal behavior at this volcano, regardless of the current activity. Ground deformation also happening there. Also, Katmai on the Alaskan Peninsula now exploding. 7,000-foot ash plume from Katmai. I don't think we've ever covered that one before. Fuego in Guatemala exploding. 15,000-foot ash plume from Fuego. Novato del Ruiz exploding. 21,000-foot ash plume from Novato del Ruiz over Colombia. Sangay exploding in Ecuador. I think that's an uptick at Sangay. 20,000-foot ash plume from Sangay. The other Ecuadorian volcano that's active at the moment is Revenador. It's also exploding. 16,000-foot ash plume there. Flight level 160. And sporadic emissions from Sabancaya are a reminder to not pole vault the caldera. Please don't pole vault the caldera, folks. Please do visit the links below the video, especially if you'd like these videos to continue to exist, be publicly visible, and free for all to view. One of the ways you can ensure that is to support the channel via picking up merch. We've been calling Fauci a fraud since December of last year when a pattern of fraud emerged. Are you accountable? I would say universum liberate to each and every one of our viewers. Don't forget to press like and subscribe on YouTube. Tell your friends and foes about us. Just additional views might ensure that these videos will continue to exist. We could take them down at any moment and show them only to the smAsh team. Today's featured products are the Mensa product, which is our second best seller there. As you can see, Mensa, Make Earth Not Suck Again. I'm wearing the hat at the moment. I'm also wearing the smAsh team shirt. This is for our paid-up one-year annual members. In 2018, a crack YouTube unit went to social media prison for a crime we didn't commit. We promptly escaped from a maximum security, idiotic social media stockade to the internet underground, where we survive as producers of fortune. If you've got a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find our content, maybe you can hire the smAsh team. You can find links to our Redbubble shop at smAshomash.com. And here are all of the items that are available for purchase with the smAsh team. The smAsh team logo, the graphic that we use for links on the website and on the homepage. You can find it there, smAshomash.com. You click on smAsho merch. You'll find all of our products there. They make great gifts. They could anger your friends and foes and amuse all kinds of folks. The smAsh team. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, folks. What happens in science a lot of times is we end up with answers to questions not even asked. And so that's the basis for this channel. Thanks to all of the viewers who've been viewing the content for years. Again, visit links there. Thanks again to the smAsh team. There are paid subscriptions there where you get all kinds of information nobody else gets to see. We'll give you a sneak peek of that at a later time. Let's look at magnetic data next. Here are the GOES magnetometers over the past 3 days. And we're in a fairly normal range here as the coronal hole wind stream is subsiding. We'll get to that in a moment. First, the top view ecliptic plane field plot showing about an hour and 40-minute old data here. A little bit of activity out east of stereo A, and we call this the east side of the sun. The east side is over here because this is where space weather rises. From our perspective, this is stereo A right here. This is stereo B out here at Lagrange point 4. Earth is in a south pole current sheet. We're not expecting any changes in that coming in the immediate future. Just keep in mind the magnetic environment can suddenly change with basically no warning. Here's the line of sight coronal hole plot. This also shows the sun's B field in blue, and you can see some transequatorial coronal holes now happening over here in the east. So there's some additional progression of solar cycle 25 as the south solar polar field is migrating up toward the north. Transequatorial coronal holes making themselves visible here. And yeah, this is the 193 angstroms view. Great imagery there from the SDO, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Next, your coronal mass ejection watch. And we've got a huge plume of plasma here out east of stereo A. Surprised that it hasn't ejected yet. This still is going to eject. We're not going to make anything like a coronal mass ejection watch, though, because we only do those for this side of the sun, not the far side. And just to show you where those are located, the right pane here, that's the LASCO C3, located at Lagrange point 1. That's right here, in between the Earth and the Sun, about 1 million miles toward the Sun from the Earth. And on the left pane, stereo A is located at Lagrangian point 5, which puts the Earth off to your right from that perspective. Again, we're expecting a far side, not an earthly coronal mass ejection. I figured I would just include it in today's video, just to let you know that we're going to see some fireworks on the coronagraphs. It'll be unlikely to be Earth-directed. Here's the flaring profile over the past 3 days here. Solar flares are X-ray photons, folks. And don't get solar flares and coronal mass ejections confused. Solar flares are X-ray photons. Coronal mass ejections are solar protons, mainly hydrogen nuclei, also helium, some electrons, and all the rest of the elements on the periodic chart. No spikes in the proton flux here, according to the GOES 16 measurements. Next, the real-time solar wind. And you can see the subsiding of this coronal hole wind stream here now. The solar wind speed down to about 530 kilometers per second. Solar wind density here, only 6.02 protons per cubic centimeter. More like background levels. 527 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed is a continuing elevated coronal hole wind stream. Here's the KP index, a measurement of global geomagnetism. You can see those little yellow bars there. A few hours of geomagnetic unrest there in the past 3 days. Current conditions are a KP of 1. Geomagnetic calm. Here's the last 4 hours of space weather modeling framework. Out to about 12 Earth radii, showing you magnetohydrodynamic pressure in nanopascals. Once again, it's 4 hours of data here, courtesy University of Michigan. Fairly homogeneous magnetohydrodynamic pressure over the past 4 hours. As we push closer and closer to the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere. It's almost summer in the southern. We're just about a month until the solstice. So here are ground magnetic perturbations here, looking at changes in the Earth's B field. So geospace delta B. Ground magnetic perturbations. This is magnetic flux density nanotesla modeled by the space weather modeling framework on the surface. And like the last frame, it's 4 hours of data. We show it daily. Partially because people are frightened of a geomagnetic excursion. Next, a diagram of the solar system. Will advance this 1 week to show you a forecast of where things will be as Mercury swings around to pass Mars. And there's where things will be in 1 week. There is a lunar eclipse coming in about, well, it depends on when you watch the video, but I'll just say tomorrow on the 19th. Anyway, here's a star chart, and you can see the Mars rising there ahead of the sun. The moon has just set here in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. My star chart faces the south, and I'm currently facing south. And here's your solar flare monitor. The likelihood of major flares is not there. These are both alpha class sunspots, 2896 and 2897. Unlikely to produce major flares. They've only got one polarity magnetic field associated with them. Let's do a brief cosmology segment. We've been integrating them into the daily space weather videos. Yet another reason to watch the value-added services of our channel. Once again, congratulations on realizing that it exists. Since we often have trouble finding our own videos, we know it's no easy task attempting to find the channel. So here's the astronomy picture of the day at apod.nasa.gov. And we're in the 3 days around the full moon. It's werewolf season here in November. And there is a lunar eclipse coming. Here's the information on that from timeanddate.com. Yes. So at the time we recorded this video, we were about 18 hours and 45 minutes from it. I'll just let this scroll here. Feel free to pause the video. Don't worry, folks. The beauty of video on demand is that we'll be here when you get back. So all of North America should have a view of this. And here in Lehigh Valley, we're expecting the maximum eclipse to be around 9:02. That's universal time, which is 4:02 a.m. And perhaps we'll take some imagery of that. Maybe we'll even include it in tomorrow's daily space weather video. Again, you can find that partial lunar eclipse information at timeanddate.com. And we're not going to look at anything random today. We're going to look at cosmic rays because nothing in the universe is random anyway. I'm fairly convinced. So here are the cosmic ray monitors at Apatity in Barentsburg. This was a result of solar activity, by the way. And that showed up on all the monitors. And if you look at the 30-day chart here, it's basically flat over the past 30 days at Apatity. At Barentsburg, similarly flat levels of cosmic ray flux over the past 30 days. Let's go farther south to Athens, Greece. And there is the Apatity neutron monitor. Small uptrend at Apatity over the past 30 days. How about Mexico City? There's the Mexico City Cosmic Ray Observatory. And that's flat over the past 30 days there. And we're going to go even farther south here, but first really far north to Oulu, Finland. There's the Oulu neutron monitor. Oulu neutron monitor showing quite flat there over the past 30 days. And let's go as far south as we can get to Antarctica. There's DOMB, which is showing a tiny uptrend over the past 30 days. Here's DOMC, showing a flat chart over the past 30. That's our cosmology segment. Check our playlists for over 200 more cosmology segments that are separate videos, not integrated like this one to the daily space weather. youtube.com/smAshomash/playlists. Next, looking at charging hazards and electron flux and the ionosphere. No charging hazards currently surrounding planet Earth. Here's the one-year chart of the electrons, and we saw them crater, as we typically do during high-speed coronal hole wind streams. Here's the 3-day chart. You can see these are going to come back up in the next about 24 to 36 hours, folks. That 3-day chart there, that's measured by the GOES 16 and GOES 17 using radiography from a geosynchronous orbit to measure the electron flux at the Ionosphere layer. They're looking down toward the Earth to measure the electron flux. So here you can see these very low levels here, as we typically do, associated with coronal hole wind streams. And afterwards, we're expecting a significant electron storm. After this subsides, no arguments there with the NOAA forecast from me. Next, we're going to show you the total electron content forecast. It's the electron density in between your GPS satellites and your handset. So this will show you where GPS errors are likely to occur. And we see a little chaos kicking up here in the electron densities. We're seeing some little blobs of electrons here where they're not normally showing up. They're usually a little more organized around the equator at noon. You can see some minor little blips here on the electron flux, some little blobs of electron chaos happening there as the coronal hole wind stream subsides. Next, a diagram of the atmosphere to show you where the F layer is. It's at about 300 kilometers of altitude. Here's the ionogram. We'll also show you the anomalygram after we let this play. Here's the anomalygram. It shows you high-frequency anomalies in blue and low-frequency anomalies in red. We're seeing some wild shifts here around the northern northern Indian Ocean. We're seeing wild swings from high-frequency to low-frequency anomalies in a very small area there, both east and west of India and across the southern part of the peninsula nation of India there. Anyway, here are the latest images. That's 11:15 Universal Time anomalygram, 11:15 Universal Time ionogram. The anomalygram shows you anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. Here's a bonus feature for your daily space weather video. It's your 72-hour precipitation and pressure forecast over the lower 48. If you don't watch our meteorology segments, check them out. They usually premiere before the daily space weather video. Here come the rest of our bonus features. Cerro Tololo, Chile, has been our most recent hydrogen alpha imagery here for the end of the videos. It's part of the National Sunspot Observatory. We've got a bunch of filaments here in the northern hemisphere. You can see some filaments down here as well. Again, we are expecting a coronal mass ejection to be unlikely in the Earth vicinity. We showed it earlier in the video on stereo A. And let's take a look at the latest intensity and latest colorized magnetograms. That's alpha class. And that is beta class. So we do have some additional umbrae there. Let's take a look at this. Yep, we've got some South Pole umbrae. Indeed, indeed. South Pole umbrae there, folks. So that is, at the moment, a beta class sunspot. That raises the likelihood of solar flares a little bit. Here's the GO16 imagery. This is usually what we stream live when we're on Twitch with our solar monitoring process. And we've caught many, many incredible coronal mass ejections on our Twitch streams, twitch.tv/smAsho. If you've not checked that out, you can probably go to a website. I have a feeling if you're viewing this video, you've probably got the internet. And next, we've got two more SDO animations here. This is 171 angstroms, my personal favorite wavelength. If I had to pick only one, I might pick this one. Fortunately, I don't, as the SDO covers many different ionic states of iron, helium, carbon. And here is the helium by itself, 304 angstroms. You can see those filaments both in the north, some of those filaments in the north, as well as down there in the southeast. Filaments down here. Just spectacular imagery. Once again, congratulations on realizing we exist. Thanks for tuning into the Daily Space Weather. If you're new to the channel, press like and subscribe. Press the share button and share on your social media. You probably won't get banned for it. Ask questions, they start banning, to quote a popular hip-hop artist. Anyway, we're out, and may that solar wind be at your back. Opinions expressed in this space weather video, not necessarily the opinions of smAsh News Network, least busted. Name it news.